Hello and welcome to the very first episode of Hashtag Steve's Tea Podcast. I'm Stephen Anderson.
And I'm not. I'm just like, did you even check to see if it was recording? Because you just pressed the button and was like, hope for the best.
That's how I go with it, man. That's how my podcast rolls. We don't have rules. We close our eyes and hope.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I'm pretty sure it does. It's not like the college Zooms that you use usually have to click twice.
Yeah, you click it once to turn it to the ability to record, and then press it again, and then it's recording.
No, this one goes right on the minute you turn it on. Because I played around with it the first day I got it. Didn't record anything. I kept on saying, I'm going to record an advert for this podcast. Didn't. Never got around to it.
Should have told me. I would have got Mosh to do a really funny advert for it.
I need to get... I'm still subtly using Donald, because like Donald said, he made those pictures for you in those YouTube videos, which we'll bring up later on. He made pictures and stuff with you, and he had like, oh, Phil and all that stuff on it. And I was like, oh, make me one. And subtly, like, he didn't know I was in the podcast. I was like, oh, subtly put hashtag Steve See It. And like, I imagine when he got that, he was just like, alright, I guess I could do that. I don't know why you'd want me to, but alright. And then when he finds out I'm going to be using it as like free advertising without paying him or anything.
Well, to be fair, like, I don't think he would really care.
Not really.
Like, I think he would probably find it funnier that you just did that on the sly. Like.
I am planning to get Donald and maybe Stephen involved at some point. Get us all recording in one room. See how that turns out.
Oh, that would be a bit dodgy. I mean, have you watched Alcoholic Nerdgasm? Like...
Yeah, well, see, the thing is, the microphone's difficult because it is a Zoom mic and it captures everything around us. Like, it's not just like a one-way mic that I was intending to get, but even then, the one-way mic would have been harder as well because we'd have to both be sharing one mic.
Yeah.
And we'd have to be really close to us. At least with this mic, I can capture everyone around us pretty much. But, I mean, every time I see Stephen now, I can't stop laughing at him. We'll bring up that story later.
Oh, yes. No doubt at all in my mind.
Oh, I had the weirdest experience getting on here on the bus. I was standing in the line, in the queue, waiting for this leaving bus that was coming. It's the best way I could describe it. Two nerdy girls behind me, right?
Right.
Completely different things right there.
Yeah, exactly. Like polar opposite.
Now... I try not to listen to other people's conversation, but when it catches on, and they were talking about some party that obviously the girl to my left must have been. I didn't turn around. I don't even know what they looked like. I just heard from behind and just listened in, and all I could hear was her talking about obviously she's having a party, but the way she described it was she doesn't want a party. She wants like a nightclub, but not a nightclub, more like a rave, but not really a rave. Yeah, more like a nightclub, and I was just like, what? I don't understand. What's wrong with a party? That's just a party. If it's just you and a bunch of friends in a place, it's a party. I mean, I don't understand.
To be fair, I was in a rave in an attic once. It was slightly different to a normal party, but mostly because everyone just ended up with their tops off at one point.
Well, I didn't see the people behind me, and I don't imagine. I don't really know. I mean, it's just the fact that I don't know if they sounded really young. Like it sounded like they could have been like 12.
Ah.
Now I was like. I should have probably looked around just to look at them.
Just to be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I would have looked at them just to be like, I'm going to say this on a podcast, But yeah.
Oh yeah, that's something I should have brought up. Like, what is the level of profanity that I am allowed to reach?
I'm going for everything, man.
Okay, because I was just like, I know like from when I did Swagcast and what we do on Alcoholic Nerdgasm, I was just like, profanity's everywhere.
Yeah, this is not for any specific age limit, I suppose.
Okay.
I wouldn't imagine it's for kids.
Well,
yeah. Oh man, this chick. I mean, I imagine maybe she's thinking of party hats. Like maybe she thinks her mum and that are going to throw her like a kiddies party.
Oh dear.
I mean, the fact that you have to put rave and a nightclub in a different association than party in general. I mean, I think party sums it up.
Yeah. I mean, that is the sort of catch-all phrase.
It's these pet peeves that drive me insane, man. Kids and their fucking parties that aren't nightclubs and aren't fucking raves. Pick one.
Dude, I think you're taking this too seriously
I think
at this point.
I think it's childhood repression. I didn't get many parties. I got last party you were at, the 21st. That was, like, before that, I think I was 10.
Oh.
I don't get enough parties.
Birthday parties, I haven't really had many of those. I ended up just hosting parties whenever my mum and dad were away. It's like, right, they're not going to be back till fucking Monday. Let's go. Let's get fucking loads of booze and just get wasted everywhere.
It's like people at my college now, like, because it's up for Halloween, they're wanting me to throw like Halloween party, and I'm like, I don't want, like, I'm fine with having parties at places, but people at my flat, especially that my flat doesn't have much that you could break, but there wouldn't be much places I would like people to go. It would either be the living room, the kitchen, the hallway, and downstairs. My room and my roommate's room, off limits.
Yeah.
And I know that there's always some drunk person that will break something or go into someone's room when they shouldn't, and stuff will kick off.
You could always have what happened to me. Like, I've had a few house parties, like I said, and a couple of times, two of my friends, in the middle of the party, not like at the end of the party when everyone's winding down, but like in the middle of the party, will go off into my bedroom and have sex on my bed. And I mean, this was at a time when I wasn't getting laid at all, so I was really pissed off, and I was just like, why are you ruining the party atmosphere by going away and then doing your own thing when you could wait a few hours and do it as much as you want and no one gives a fuck?
What? Well, see, like, how does your room look? Right, I'm going to use this in terms of nerdiness. How does your room look?
Well, my room, I don't have that many physical artifacts of nerdiness. Apart from like my book collection, which is getting more extensive, and I'm still like, I've read like one for every 10 books I own. Like, in terms of like actual nerdy stuff, I've got a plastic sword. That's about it.
See, like, I think if someone tried to go into my room, I feel like they would go in there to fuck, and then realise that there's so much things to take the piss out of me from, they would just get distracted and be like, look at this, fuck. Look at him, he's like 5 years old. I can see, I've got like Halo Mega Blocks and shit. And I'd imagine they would just stop for a second and be like, look at this guy, what? Like, and they'll start picking it up and start playing. I imagine they would, like, I don't trust people enough that I think they would just fucking break them and just like leave them there for me to have to build up again. Oh. That's how much I trust my friends and stuff, just to be like, I've got my comic collection and shit. Like, well, I say comic, the graphic novels. Like, I can't stand getting one single comic; it drives me insane.
Especially those like the superhero ones that go on for so long. You want like set stories and stuff.
Yeah, like I prefer getting the big bunch of collection. I hate having to read one after another. I say I borrowed. What I mean is I've stolen my brother's collection of Ultimate Spider-Man.
Right.
And we haven't got all of them, but we've got a big chunk. Most of that's taken up. Like, I've got a wee desk thing, and that, like, I've got a pile on that. And I just imagine they would break them, rip them, something. I don't trust people, man. I like the calm people. I know I could just sit down and get drunk like we do at the pub. That's fine. People at college, they go to nightclubs and shit. We don't really do that. We go to pubs, we drink a bit, maybe go to Brannigan's, but let's face it,
that's not a club.
If we do, we don't stay there for longer than like maybe an hour and a half.
Exactly. I mean, there's no point in being there.
Then again, I'm usually sober when I'm there. Even they're saying that, usually when I'm drunk, I leave early. I can't stand it.
See, that's the thing. Like the whole idea is that like to get me to go to Branny's, you have to get me really drunk.
Yeah.
Because like I've been to like actual clubs and they play actual good sort of dancey music.
Yeah.
But like Branny's just plays all that sort of poppy shit. But like, you know, the remixes that make them dancey and shit. I'm like, I don't need this in my life.
Just give me karaoke, that'll do us. But
one of the guys in my college class was there. It was at Molly's
on
Saturday, and he heard me singing "I'm Too Sexy," and he was just like, "Oh dear."
It must have already been confusing enough because now they've got Phil, and now they've got Phil singing. And for the record, right, I should let everyone know that your name is Rory, obviously.
Yes, my name is Rory, but everyone calls me Phil. And it's a fucking old story from a fucking second year in high school. And everybody's like, what, so why'd you get called Phil? I'm like, it's a nickname. Why does anybody get called anything? Who cares?
It's so funny because it's become so embedded to people that is what they introduce you as to me. And now there's something that everyone should learn about me now. If you ever want to have a nickname, or you want a nickname that you want to be called a nickname, call me, like, tell me what your nickname is first. Don't say your real name to me. Because I will call you that forever.
Yeah.
So, like, when someone says you're Phil, that's instantly it. His name is Phil. He's Phil. That's what he is. So, like, I'm coming into your classroom when everyone's calling you Rory, and I'm like, hey, Phil, what you doing, man? And, like, Pete came in to tell you were doing a project about Star Trek, and he comes through, and he's all like, does anyone know about Star Trek? I was like, I know a bit about Star Trek. Like, oh, Stephen, you'll do. And I'm like, but you've got Phil in your class. And he's like, who's Phil? And I'm like, Phil, he's in your class. So, like, he took me through, and then I'm pointing at him, and I'm like, this spelly's right there. Pete, come on. And then he's just like, what? And then I realised, like, oh, that's not your real name, is it?
Yeah, that was a really confusing time for the whole class. The whole class seemed really interested in it for like 30 minutes afterwards. They were just like, what's going on there? And I'm just like, it doesn't even matter.
It's the same with a guy we know called Salty.
Like, Salty.
His name's like Arab, isn't it?
Yeah.
See, I don't even know.
Yeah, I think it is.
So like, obviously I call him Salty. The other thing I would say is, this was back in high school, I can't remember what year, it might have been third or fourth. We went, like, this was in a time where my friend William wanted to go down to Glenrothes to pick up golf chicks.
Right.
In Glenrothes. That was where they all hung out, apparently. This was his mind.
Okay.
Back
I mean,
high
I
school.
can actually testify to that. I saw some, like, when I was at college.
It was actually how I met one of our friends, Kaylee. Kaylee Goff, that's how I met her. Because
she was one of the golf chicks.
she hung around with them. What we consider golf chicks. Now,
the GOFF, the golf chicks.
Now, this was how we introduced our, like, this is how he followed them, right? He followed this chick.
Wait, he followed them like a stalker?
How can I describe this without being weird, right?
There's no way.
He picked a target and he went to introduce himself. It's not
he picked a target. That's less creepy than he followed them.
Well, it is like if it makes anyone feel better, he didn't get anything. We introduced him. We became friends with the people.
Yes.
Right? I should start out first. We did become friends with them. We knew them. We hung out with them. But the first introductions weren't exactly what you'd call great. We sort of followed them for a bit, and then eventually William plucked up the courage to go like, "All right, this is me and my friend Stephen. How you doing, man? We and like, you know, he had that flair. He liked no fielding, so he had that no fielding flair of Mighty Bushness. He would come in, he could just talk to anybody and that. And I'm sitting there in the back like, what am I doing? I could be at home playing video games. What
God,
the fuck? So I went with him and. The reason I remember these people is because I didn't know them by the real name. I think they tried to tell me the real name, and I was like, I might not remember them. I might only meet them for this one time. I'll make up names. And this guy, he wore like a little scarf thing, right? So I called
like a neckerchief.
Yeah,
thing.
I called him Fred from. I called him Fred because it reminded me of Scooby Doo. That's how I know him. And honestly, like, even now, if I was to see him, it would still be Fred because I honestly don't know his real name. There was a guy named Shadow because all he was wearing was black and like nonsense. There was another guy. There was a guy that had a red hair and he had like a red jumper, so his name was Alvin from the Chipmunks because he was small as well.
No.
And that's how I knew these people. We started hanging out with them like every weekend, kind of thing. So like that was their nickname. I think they did eventually try to tell me their names, and I would just sort of shoot away like, no.
What did they embrace them?
They did, I think they kind of did. I think they just sort of enjoyed it because they were just like, this fucking creepy guy from Leaving who just joined us with his friend just likes calling us these names. Like, they probably thought I had something wrong with me, and they're just like, we should probably let him
just humor him.
Yeah,
just humor him because he's clearly mentally deficient.
Probably the more friends that came in, they're just like, yeah, okay, we should probably warn you. There's a guy that sort of came around hanging out with us. He names us random names like Alvin and Fred for no reason apart from we had clothing or we look this way. You know, if you're wearing something or look like something, just let him call you that name, right? Let's forget him.
Just forget him.
And like, oh man, even thinking of those times, William took me into the International down in Glenrothes, the shop,
right,
the women's store, to buy skinny jeans, and I still have those skinny jeans in my wardrobe. Haven't worn them in a while.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
See, I despise skinny jeans. Like, not just like because like of me being fat, but just like because I think they look horrid on anyone that wears them. Like the skinniest little person or the biggest fattest person, they all look horrible in skinny jeans because tight jeans just don't make sense. Where's the comfort in tight clothing?
See, for me, they were baggy on me. That was the funny thing. I mean, I don't know if they are now, but they were at the time. And like
they'll be baggy now.
And like that was their joke to me. It was like he went in to a women's store, bought women's jeans because William told him to, and they still didn't fit him properly. I saw William not long ago, actually. Yeah, I think he wants to hang out eventually. I'll get around to that. And then I came him on the podcast, and the stories I imagine he could tell you, Jesus.
That's like having Alex White on your podcast. The kind of stories you would get if you had him on a podcast, you wouldn't want to air it online. You'd just be like, oh no, right. What's going on?
I should point out like that eventually, now when I get money, eventually, I will start putting up for a proper podcast website where you can download things. At the moment, I'm just putting this up on Mixcloud, which is a website. I'll put the link up on Twitter and on the blog.
Right.
But
And you know me, I always do a whoring video for anything I'm a part of.
Having like the blog itself is easy. You just type in hashtag Steve's Tea. Like literally, no one else is obviously going to name their website that or anything. So
yeah, that's pretty fucking original.
Yeah, pretty easy to find. So easy that it'll be hard.
Of course. So unique that no one will think to look for it.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be easy on Twitter because obviously it'll go
hashtag Steve's Tea.
It'll be under the hashtag. It'll confuse people. I will explain. Maybe this podcast, maybe next podcast, of why it is called hashtag.
On Twitter, it would literally be hashtag Steve's Tea.
I try. Well, I could do that. I try.
Or you could do just a hashtag.
I was just going to do a hashtag Steve's Tea. It would confuse a little bit, but I'll try it. But like, why not? It's my podcast. I'm allowed to do my own hashtags. God damn it.
You're like, the thing is, you should be the guy who comes up with the idea and does it, but you should get other people to do everything else.
But then I always feel like I have to pay them, and I'm as broke as I am already. So I mean, I'm trying to find like the Mixcloud is good because it costs you nothing, and you can put up as many podcasts. I mean, I think it's the website itself is made for people that want to advertise radio. Like they can make a radio show, and it is covered. Like they can put music on there, and for something that doesn't get covered by copyright. I'm sure. Someone tried to explain it to me. I'm still iffy with it. I'm not 100%, but I'm sure everyone else who knows the website can justify it. I haven't been used to it that much, but I have heard a lot of music on there. It even gives you like a list of what music will feature on this person's show. Mine's just going to be a podcast. I've even got a wee theme tune of what I found on a website. I need to, I found this on a free website. This guy is
the royalty free website.
Yeah, it was Flashkit, and this guy basically said use this theme tune for whatever you want. It's not like 4 or 5 seconds of like a rock theme tune or something. And he's like, use it for what you want, but I would like to know what you're using it for. So I'm going to send him a link and be like, listen to this.
Like,
you're in there.
This is what we've wasted your musical talent on.
Well, I mean, it's like there's somewhere. It's on YouTube. It'll be on.
Because I remember when we did Swatchcast, we went on a website called Dano Songs or some Dano Songs, and he had like such a wide variety of different genres of music, different styles and everything, and it was great because you could just fucking pick and choose, and like we used a lot of them for the adverts, like all the different weird adverts that Moss would create for like BDSM Bay and the real Farmville with his fucking donkey show. I
can't imagine having any adverts to say except for other shows within this podcast without being like, next week we'll have this guy and then we'll have this guy back.
No, but like the adverts were fake sponsors. It was like these websites were we made these websites and pretended they were sponsoring us. Because the idea was, pretend like you're famous already, and then eventually you'll become famous, and like that's just how we ran with it.
Oh, it's such a fucking good idea.
It's a fucking brilliant idea. It didn't work for shit. Like, I mean, we did the 2 live episodes, and we got like 11 viewers each on the live episodes, and our average viewership was like 100 downloads an episode, except when I put them on Stumble Upon. The links got fucking spread or whatever, and loads of people were clicking on it, realising what it was and clicking away. But it all went to our view count, so we got into like the top 10 on the website of the fucking podcast. We're like, oops.
Well, like, I mean, I don't have any plans for adverts and stuff as of yet. Maybe later. Maybe I may even go around to like local stores and that around Leven, maybe Glenrothes, see what they want. Like, it's free advertising for them. I mean,
the idea is that we were actually looking for a real sponsor. Yeah. Because the website we were using had limitations that you had to pay to get the limitations removed. Yeah. So we were like, fuck, we're gonna need money, else it's gonna come out of our pocket. So we like fished around for sponsors. Since Swatchcast was a lot about alcoholic consumption, we were like, let's go to alcohol distributors and stuff like that, but then it didn't quite work.
I mean, I know there's a specific store that I would love to talk about on the podcast, but if I did, there would be no money out of it. He'd probably be fine to do it if he had the money, but because I know he has to keep his business up, he's also got a lot of things he has to do as well, so I can't go up to him and be like, can I have, like, I don't know how much unusual advertising would be, and whether mine would be a good price.
Smodcast do, what is it? $200 for a 2-minute ad.
Yeah, something like that. Like I wouldn't even be going up to that. I'd be like,
no, but I mean, you could
do it for 10.
You could do half that for like twice the length of an ad or something.
Basically, yeah. I mean, like I'm not doing it professionally. I'm not up there yet. When I get proper equipment and when I get if I can manage to get my own editing software and stuff, that's fantastic. Then I'll start being professional, like, I'll do your thing for like £100.
£100?
Yeah. Like at the moment, if I was to do an advert, I'm like, just give me £10, I'll do it. Give me money, just any money. I don't care. But I mean, when I eventually, I do want to start getting people, like, get it to be actual download. What I am doing though, I'm putting it on YouTube, and this is in no way endorsing this. Just throwing it out there. I know there is software that you can download things from YouTube. I don't condone using it. Hint, hint. Just throwing it out there. There is, YouTube to MP3 websites out there. You can easily type in. You can easily download the website. I mean, it's a lot more hassle than what you would have to do in a normal website. But just saying, if you are that interested in this podcast, want to hear what we're talking about, and then wanting to take it home with you. I mean, I'm probably doing it myself. Even though I'm putting it up there, I'll probably still want to be like, oh man, I listened to that episode again and then take it off myself. Not endorsing it.
But like, I remember we actually did that once. We took like the last episode of Squadcast has an audio clip of David Cameron at the start because it was all about the riots in England.
Yeah, the riots.
The whole episode was dedicated to it. It was like, this is our opinion on this subject. There's nothing to do with us. But it was like, we took this like 5-minute speech. David Cameron put the whole thing on the start of the podcast. And it was just like, we turned that off YouTube and we're like, we're now criminals. Yeah. It's fine.
I mean, like, I think it's okay to use these things. We did a bit of copyright. You probably do it. Well, maybe. I think you'll do it more for TV than anything. Or is it TV you're planning to go to? Have you decided? After this?
I think it's probably got to be TV.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, right? I'm only actually at the college to meet people and gain the skills.
Yeah.
It's not about being in TV. It's about having the skills to do the camera work and the directing and stuff, so that I can go on and use those skills and use the people that I've met in the classes. To fucking make millions in my own enterprises. Because
the reason I'm doing this podcast with people I know is because I already know you guys are funny. You guys already make me laugh. So I'm like, oh man, you guys can make more people laugh. I am looking at, because I'm doing my second year of radio in the college, which is why, like right now, we're doing podcasting. Although this is not what this is for. I'm not putting this on.
This is college. Just like, well, I would assume not, because it's full of profanity and nonsense.
Like that podcast will be about Batman or something.
Yeah,
no doubt. From what it's going for, it's looking like Batman.
I mean, my radio project's about fucking Star Trek, so I can't talk for shit.
Yeah. So I'm looking at unis and stuff, and like what my original plan after doing NC Media, which is what you are doing now, I had a plan to go to television because my whole point was I did acting. But the acting didn't go through. It kind of did. Like, it should have.
Acting? Yeah. I've seen you act before.
Like, it should have. I should have gone through, but because of certain complications, I couldn't get into that course, so I missed that chance. And then to go back now mean to pay for it, and I can't pay for it.
Naturally.
So I went into NC Media, planning to go into television, because you couldn't get into television without doing the media course, and that handled everything, like radio and stuff. Yeah. And the closer it got to it, the closer I was like, maybe I want to try radio. Because radio seemed more interesting to me.
It's definitely a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a shit ton easier to
honestly,
do.
if I'm being really honest, it's the people at the college that were scaring me because they kept on talking about all the paperwork and how, like, they weren't talking about how much fun it would be, but how much work it was going to be and how it would sort of drag me down and not pick me up to be like, movies and television.
Yeah, I mean, well, there is a lot of paperwork. We've got one video project and there is already a shit ton of paperwork involved. And I'm like, that's fine, because I know it's all worth it in the end, because you have a good time filming stuff. And you know.
I mean, I do kind of regret it, but at the same time, I am having fun now. And the point is, the unis that I'm thinking of going to, if I started on year one, which is what I'm planning, because I don't want to jump from, like, if I'm doing this course, I could easily jump onto radio, do 1 year radio, like the last year radio in uni, and then get a degree. But I would rather go to first year and sort of go through all the things that uni do, because the unis might not be the same as in colleges, so they might learn things you don't know about. And they also, it's sort of like the media course in like other universities cover everything, just like NC Media again, but of course in more detail. Like, it does go through television again, so I might easily change your mind. Like, I think it goes 2 years where you go through everything, and then on the third year you pick which one you want the degree in. You could pick television or sound.
That's a really good way to do it.
So like I think that's what they do. I know in like Air, and I don't know about Aberdeen. Aberdeen's the one I just found yesterday, so I'm going to be looking more into that. But yeah, I know they do television as well, so I could easily just like go through all this with radio, learn these skills, and then be like, you know what, maybe I want to try television, because I'll already have a HND in radio anyway.
Yeah, so you could always fall back.
That's like that. Even then, that's still a qualification good enough. I mean, and there's a guy that came from Weems. He's went on. I can't remember his name. I'll try and figure it out. I've got my laptop. I think his name was Craig something. He has a HND in radio alone, or maybe it was just a HNC, and he went on to do radio for BBC, and then he went to do, I think it was American radio. Like I think he did a breakfast show, which is like the big shit in radio in America, and now he's doing like sound for movies. So
see, that's the thing, because like when it comes to the media industry, it's not just about having the skills. Yeah. It's about knowing people. It's about having the confidence to do it. It's about having the confidence to go out there and fucking be like, this is what I want. This is what I want for my life, and I'm gonna fucking find a way to do it. Yeah. And then you do it. Like you'd fucking like right now. I'm in NC Media, right? I'd done this. The course was slightly different. It was media production. It was called before. Yeah. And this was 5 years ago, and I fucked it up. I could right now already have a HND in TV if I hadn't fucked up that one course before. But like at the same time, I was still really young then. I didn't really know. Like I knew I wanted to be a filmmaker and do filmy stuff, but I didn't know to what extent I wanted that. I didn't know like if that's just what I wanted to do, or if I wanted to do more with it. So like having this like extra span of time to be like reevaluated things like friendships and stuff. Like I mean, I was like engaged in like this company quotes with two friends, Mosh and Steen. Steen's sort of been dropped from that now. So like if I went straight ahead, he would still be involved, and since there's so much tension, there would be problems and stuff. Yeah. But now there's none of that problem. I could just move ahead a lot smoother now. Yeah. And so it's kind of a good thing that I had this chance to sort of really develop what I wanted to do in my mind before actually going on and gaining the skills. Because at the end of the day, I did a podcast. I did all these other things. I made websites. I did everything that I wanted to do at the time. So I didn't need the qualification to do them. Yeah. It's your own personal drive that moves it. I mean, getting the skills is great. But more importantly, when you're in these courses, is meeting the people. Yeah. Because other people who are driven and motivated, they're going to help you if you help them. So you could just power through like with the other people as well. I know we're supposed to be going to this sort of BBC course thing. I think it's next week, maybe. I think it's later than that. I can't remember. A few weeks, maybe a month or something. There's supposed to be this BBC training thing, and like I don't know if anyone else apart from the second years are getting to go to it, as far as I'm aware. But they're only like a limited place to go, and it's going to have people from BBC there. So obviously you get to put your foot in the door, kind of thing. Like get to talk to them. There's also this thing that I missed out on. That I kind of regret, but I know it'll be coming again this year. I'm pretty sure, called Sound Loop, which is where television and radio people, or anyone in the media, I think sound people as well, we all get to go down to this giant. I want to say it's sort of like a convention where all these people from like. You'll get people that have done movies and not like big movies, but like they've done stuff for TV, maybe BBC and stuff, and they'll come down, they'll talk to you and stuff. Also, as well as BBC Radio and sound engineers and stuff, they're all in there, and you get to talk to them. You get to meet people. One of my friends, he met, I forgot his name from BBC Radio too. You know what? I'm gonna figure that out and get back to you. But he managed to get him to do his intro for his graded unit. Jeremy Vine, there we are. Bloody hell. I even knew that name, and I know fuck all about radio.
Oh, see, that's like, okay. So yeah, you got Jeremy Vine to do it. That's the guy's name, Jeremy Vine. He managed to get him to do his introduction. So like that's a big step for him. So like I think he got in touch with him. I don't know if he was there. I think he might have been, but I didn't go because obviously I was like, see, they gave us a bit of like short notice. It was like the day before or something. They said, "Do you guys want to go to it?" And I was like, "I've got things I've already got planned." I mean, it's annoying. I suppose that stretch I could have cancelled them now, but I mean, I'm sure it'll be happening again this year, and hopefully it'll be just the same. But I mean, I'm sure I can work it either way. I mean, I'll even walk down to the BBC studios anyway. Just walk in, be like, "Hey, can I talk to people for no reason?" See how that works out. Maybe I'll even talk to security as they escort me out and be like, "Hey guys, you've worked here a long time. How does this work?"
Yeah, well, it's a good idea to check it out and sort of keep up to date with it, because you never know, it could appear anywhere again and you're just like, shit, I've missed it. Yeah. But like, because I know there's this thing going on at the Regent, sort of around the sort of 20th, well after the 20th, that's all to do with like filmmakers and stuff, and it's going to have like people working in the film industry coming and doing talks and stuff. So that should be interesting as well for like the filmmaking side. Yeah.
See, that's good, because the Regent cinema, like every time I look at it, there's always someone saying it's about to go down, they're running out of money, it's about to go away, and I'm like, why? I mean, it's not, maybe that's not the best community cinema, but it's still, it's not worse. We could have nothing.
That's exactly it, right? Because I mean, like, If you want to see a new movie, you have to go, like, if you live in the Leavenmouth area, you have to, if you didn't have the Regent, you'd have to go to, like, Glenrothes or fucking Dunfermline if you wanted the big screens and shit.
And they could, like, on buses and that, if you're not taking a car or a taxi, I mean, taxis would be fucking unfortunate.
Well, exactly.
But if you're taking a bus now, that's a good, like, hour away. Whereas in Leven, you know, it's a 5-minute walk. No matter, I don't think no matter where you are, it'll take you long to get there. So I mean, it's just nice to have a little cinema, because it used to be a cinema before, didn't it? It used to be
it was a cinema.
Very old time, and
then it became a bingo hall, and then the smoking ban came in, ruined the bingo hall, and now it's a cinema again.
Yeah,
and I think it's brilliant that it's a cinema,
absolutely.
Because people, like, the thing about local cinemas is that you could fucking get them to showcase your movies.
Yeah,
if you fucking have a movie, you could fucking throw it up on their projectors and get your movie shown. Yeah. Granted, you'd have to do your own publicity and make sure that people would actually show up. But I mean, like, if more people, like, that's the thing. I'm like, there's this whole thing about, like, the whole Scottish independence issue happening next year and la-di-da-di-da. But, like, even, like, whether or not we become independent, we need a stronger media. Like, because, like, the only people in terms of media that anyone seems to know are, like, actors. Yeah. Like, those are the only Scottish people that anyone knows as actors.
Like, properly famous.
Yeah, exactly.
There's probably some radio people you could mention, but it would take you a little bit to try and come
but, like,
up
I think that's a bit more specialised. Yeah. Like, you know, you could just walk down the street and say, David Tennant, someone knows who you're talking about. Yeah. But you can't fucking go, like, who's the fucking radio guy? I don't even know radio guys because I don't listen to the radio.
I don't know.
That's exactly the problem. Yeah. Like, I couldn't tell you a director. I mean, I could tell you one Scottish director. He directs independent movies. His name is Glenn Miller. He did the Lord of the Rings movie parody, and that was fucking brilliant. It was done on no money, and it looks like it, but it's a brilliant piece of comedy. It's a brilliant piece of filmmaking. Yeah. And I'm like, we need more of that. It doesn't have to be really expensively made. Things can look shit and still be good. Like, that's why I'll still watch, like, the old Star Treks, and I'll still watch the fucking VHS version of Star Wars that doesn't have all the extra stuff in it. Because, like, who needs it to look crisp and clear when it's a good piece of media? And, like, that's the main problem. And that's why I think we need more people with the confidence to actually get up and make stuff and make it cheap if they have to, so that we can get a stronger media and we can get, like, and then eventually more money would come into it. Yeah. And that's the thing, like, especially if we become independent, like, we're not going to have, like, the rest of Britain to rely on. We're going to have to come up with our own stuff a lot more as well. Yeah. So it's like, best get on that shit now.
Yeah, I mean, like, I remember there was, when the Regent first opened, they did have a showcase for a director that had came here. I don't want to say his name because I might get it wrong, because he was foreign. I don't want to insult the guy and be like saying his name wrong. But he came in and he showed a movie there, and I didn't go see it, but I did see on the newspaper that it got reviewed, and apparently it was quite good. And it was about, I think it was about this guy who moved in from this other country to Scotland. I'm not entirely sure. Might be getting that wrong. But I mean, like, he did that. I mean, it seemed fine for him. I haven't seen what he's done lately, but I mean, I've seen him around sometimes.
But, like, that's the thing, like, just get more people just need to get out there, because I know there is quite a strong community in Fife of filmmakers. Yeah. But, like, nothing's being shouted out there. I'm not seeing enough, like, I'm not seeing any flyers for any movies coming out soon or anything like that. I want to see more of that, and I want to be part of being more of that as well.
I mean, now I'm gonna throw this out there, and, like, we'll see how this goes. I was gonna write a screenplay for, like, just for no reason. I was like, you know what, if I was ever write a movie, I was gonna write this, and it was gonna be about a Scottish superhero kind of thing. It was
I'm already writing that.
it was sort of like Batman meets any other superhero, I guess. It wasn't like so much superpowers. It was like a sort of weird.
It was more like a vigilante.
It was a weird combined future where Scotland did become independent, and, like, but it got sort of taken over from all countries, kind of thing. Where it became sort of like a dictatorship where Scotland sort of took down everyone else, and, like, other countries were against us, but, like, it wasn't like we were fighting with Scotland. The point was we were getting held down in Scotland. Like, the bad guy was, like, in a tower up in Glasgow or something. I can't remember what I said. I didn't even write anything down apart from, like, the first little, like, tiny opening. And it was just this guy who I think lived with his mum, I think I wrote down. And, like, his mum obviously gets killed and stuff, and he gets, you know, he starts training.
He gets the Batman, like, vengeance.
Kind of, yeah. And, like, there was so many problems with it because I was trying to think, how on earth can you make a Scottish superhero costume without it looking completely stupid?
Without it looking like some sort of Braveheart in the future type bullshit.
I mean, I didn't even go that far to think about it. I was just trying to think of what I could do for plots and stuff. And there was times where even Lisa was like, it sounds like alright. And she's like, it sounded more like a good comic book than a movie, which is what I agree with. So,
but I mean, that's the thing. Like, the superhero movies all came from comics.
Yeah.
I mean, I had this idea it wasn't a Scottish superhero, it was a superhero that just happened to live in Scotland.
Yeah.
But the whole idea, the plot twist is, he's an alien that landed Superman style. But he landed as an adult. He never landed as a child, he landed as an adult, but he has, like, partial amnesia.
Yeah.
Like, he knows how to use his powers, but that's all he knows about himself. And I thought it'd be a great idea because he just lands in some random street. It was going to be in my fictional version of Leaving, known as Valentine. No one knows what that is because no one's read anything I've written because I've not got anything online yet.
There you go.
But Valentine is literally an alternate reality version of Leaving.
Right.
And this superhero lands here, gets attacked by two Neds, start using fucking superpowers and kung fu moves. And then the whole story is like it's supposed to be like a Sherlock Holmes style thing where like he's got this Watson guy like dictating what he's doing, but instead of writing it down, he films it. And I thought that would be a good way to make it kind of cheap as well by having a little handheld camera and only having like the non-handheld stuff when you could like reasonably get away with it.
Like there was also something I've just remembered as well. This was more like a web series I was thinking of making. This was ages ago, back when the times where people used to hang out at Silverburn for fun.
Oh yes.
Silverburn's a park, if everyone doesn't know. It's also a very run-down park from what I remember. I think they're trying to redo stuff with it.
It's really run-down, but it's a good place to drink.
And I remember I was talking to this people, and it was because I just finished watching like X-Files. Like I'd never really seen X-Files apart from when I was young. It used to scare me, but I started watching it not that long ago when I was at this time in high school, and I wanted to make like a supernatural thing in Leaving, and like I had such a great idea for the person how I could do effects for nothing. Like it was going to be about this guy who turns into water and stuff, and like he's drowning people in Leaving in the Leaving mouth area kind of thing. And like there was a part like there was a scene originally where this a scientist in an office, and like that was easy, get an office. There's a guy like who I knew had an office in his home. Yeah, all you needed was a bit of splashing water on the bottom of his doorstep, and that would be about it. And it was going to have we're going to have this hose in this guy's jacket. And so whenever he's blasting a hose at you. And we thought, it would look good. Never got around to it though, but it was just going to be about these people solving mystery cases. Like we even had back in Kennoway, we got told about a story about there's like in Kennoway there's like this little hill in the middle of this field with a bunch of trees. Now me and at the time me and my friend Sean Williamson, you know him.
I know Sean.
Yeah. We got told that was like a witch's mountain. Like in the olden times, that's where witches used to go and stuff. So I don't know whether that's true or not, but me and Sean instantly were like, we're in. We're committed. This is now the witch's little hill. And just a random tale story. Just because I mentioned this now, I have to. Me and Sean were walking in this field. This is back maybe second, third year. Don't even know. But we were walking in this field in the dark, maybe around Halloween time. Smartest idea we've ever made. And we walked in and we went on the hill. We stood on it just like, witch's mountain. How foolish. Stood on this mountain and everything went super quiet. There was a lot of wind on that day, but as soon as we stood on that little hill, nothing. Like it was almost like the wind was going round the trees and we were like, we're dead.
That's
what have we done?
We have fucking summoned forth the ghost of the witch.
So like I was instantly like, we were like, okay, let's go. We're freaked out now. So we walked away from that and then like, and the thing about this field is like this is at a time where like obviously this must have been coming up for harvest and stuff, like the grass or hay or whatever was really really long, so like we were walking in this long hay and we all of a sudden heard this like dog barking. It was like, rah, and like instantly we're running around this field being like, oh my god, what have we done? We've angered the witches. That kind of nonsense. But like I've always thought that like even that story alone should be worth telling from people who make movies or
But you see, that's the thing, like you've got these stories, right, and you could just like, if you wanted to do something supernatural based, then you could do you fucking awakened the witch and shit and caused some havoc. Or if you wanted to do a more human drama, you could do it was just a story of two kids who got fucking scared and like something else happens. Or something.
You can even make a mockumentary kind of thing where
even that,
I think you mentioned that.
It's just a bit like you've got these real life experiences that you can take and exaggerate and make it really interesting stories. Because like Kevin Smith talks about it all the time. Like when he talks about making podcasts, he's like, everyone's got a story to tell. So you fucking tell it. Find a way to tell it. And I mean, like, that's a good way to tell a story, is to fucking make it a real life story that's been enhanced in some way to make it more, like, to make it more fun to watch, say, or to read if it was a book or whatever.
I think it probably relates to a lot of people as well. Like maybe even if it's something that in someone in another country, maybe like even that story I just told there, maybe someone else walked into a field in America or something.
Yeah, because that's like a lot of different countries have fields.
Yeah,
it's a pretty relatable story.
Right. Okay. Sorry, you brought this up and it's peeing me off. Right. I don't know. You ever heard of a show called Broadchurch?
No.
Right. It was on ITV. It starred David Tennant. It was a fantastic show. Right. Now, America has a fascinating history of taking British shows and turning them in America, right? Now, usually sometimes it turns out bad.
But actually, we both are guilty of that. There was a British version of that '70s show made, and there's been British versions of a lot more game shows than anything else. But like some fiction as well. Yeah, well,
it's just I have no problem with this, right? I'm kind of wanting to see it. I'm just curious as to the concept they made of this, right? They are taking Broadchurch. It was all based in this one little like seaside shore thing. There's a murder, and David Tennant is this old. Well, he's not old. He's this like he's a tough detective. He's probably from a big city. It's sort of like a hot fuzz kind of thing,
right?
Where like he's come from a big town. He obviously dealt with like a big case before. And he's like he's really tired and weary, and he doesn't want to have to deal with this again. But it's all about like this child getting murdered in some kind of weird situation. It's like a whodunit, and like. If you're going to watch it now, right, I should warn you, the last episode, they do tell you do know who the killer is pretty early on in the last episode, but they did an interesting thing that I've never seen another detective show do. Maybe they have done it before and I've never seen it, but whereas it's not just like a who's done it and then when they find them off to jail, end of the show. It's guess who done it for like a good 8 episodes, I think, and then in the last episode, they find out who did it in like the first 10-15 minutes, and then the whole rest of the episode is dealing with who done it. Kind of thing, like it's like that's something that was quite interesting. I was like, I've never seen it before. I practically stood and clapped.
Like there was the post climax sort of essentially the last episode was mostly epilogue.
Yeah,
like what happens next.
Now the thing about it is, it does say at the end credits of this Broadchurch show, it says that Broadchurch will return. So like obviously, I think they said that the second series has been commissioned. We don't know if it's going to star David Tennant. Now we don't know whether it's going to come back. So the whole point was it's in a seaside shore, but it got taken away. So like the killer got caught. Yeah. So like what more you can do? Like if there's going to be another killer. Like I mean that Whitechapel show's been going on for a while, and that just seems to keep going. I don't know how. I haven't watched that. I need to watch that. I think it's a great show. I remember when I watched it before. I liked it. I'm moaning about it, but I like it. Broadchurch gets taken. They're doing it in America now, but they're still having David Tennant in it. But I don't know what people are saying is he's going to be doing an American accent. Like he's playing a whole different detective who just like he's playing the same detective but in a different country with a different accent and things, which confuses me because I'm like, all right. I mean, I'm fine with him doing that. You could
have had that be like you could have had it be a completely different, be like the same guy.
Yeah.
In America doing a different crime. Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. Like maybe they would do that. All that's been announced is that he's starring in it, but they haven't even said if he being the main character. So I'm like, why are you even needing him in it at all? I mean, I'm alright with like if you're taking your show. I'm alright with you having like maybe like for example, The Office had. The
Office has like 14 different versions all in the world, and they're all different. They don't like they're not the same thing. Like I think that's the major flaw is that like if you're going to take a show and then appropriate it for a different country, make it a completely different show, but set in the same universe. Make it like. I don't know, there was like The Office. Yeah. You've got these characters they don't have the same names as the British TV characters. They don't
because it's a different branch of Office, which I didn't know at first. I thought it was just a remake
it's a different thing. Yeah. But it just happened. It's like it's just The Office. It's just what's happening. Yeah. And you could do that with anything. Most TV shows that have like one set place, like an office or like a detective, like a fucking police station or anything. You could take that and just make it different like anywhere else. You don't have to remake it. You can just make the different story. And I was like, when they announced that they were going to do the Akira film, which it looks like they're not doing anymore, which I'm still happy about, years after it fucking crumbled. I'm like, But like when I was like that, I was like the Akira story, the whole concept of like the people with the powers and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
That could just have been taken to America. It didn't have to be the story of Akira. It didn't have to be the story of fucking Tetsuo in Canada and all that. It could just be these different guys in a different high school who have one friend that just happens to also do the same things that Tetsuo did. You know, it didn't have to be the same story remade in America to piss everybody off.
See, when it comes like for the Akira thing, like when I think about that, every story from when that was apparently getting made just kept on getting worse and worse. Like
It was like they announced it and then people just started taking the piss.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, Bieber's gonna be in it. And
like Kirsten Stewart's gonna be in it or something.
Zac Efron's gonna be Canada and shit.
And I was just like, I mean, I remember like I need to watch the film again to remind myself about it. But like even when I was here now, I was like, I hope they don't do this.
Because honestly, if you've seen Akira, or even if you've read the manga as well, like you would just know like no one in America or Britain could be those characters. Those characters have to be those characters. If you're going to do a live action Akira film, it has to be different story, same universe.
What I think people should do with things like Akira, when it has like a huge fan base, things like that. Well, unless you're going to surprise people, I think you should always just give a bit of test footage of the actors that you want, like that the director wants to have them play, and then see how the audience reacts to it. Like I'm not saying change it just because the audience don't like it. I'm like at least just tell them maybe to change their act a bit, see if it makes any difference, and if they find someone better, then great. But I mean, just for things like this whole Ben Affleck thing with Batman, maybe if they just showed some footage or something with Ben Affleck, people would either calm down, but then again, it might also exacerbate things. I don't know. But
the thing is, though, is that like anybody could be Batman. Yeah. Anybody can be Batman. Yeah, being Batman isn't hard because you're wearing a mask, so all you have to be is angry and mean. Yeah, like that's and built is probably an advantage as well. Yeah. But even the suit can be fake built. Exactly. It's about being Bruce Wayne because it's about the ability to be this guy who's like this obvious playboy type character on the surface, but then have the hidden depth of like the vengeful, angry Batman. Yeah, and I think that's any actor who's acted can do that. Yeah, like anybody can do that, and I think Ben Affleck. He can do it well enough. Yeah. I mean, he's not going to fucking destroy Batman for anybody. Yeah. It's just people are pissed off because they're like, oh, he was fucking in Daredevil, and I'm like, come on, guys.
I know. I mean, like, I'm not the biggest Ben Affleck fan. I mean, the films I like him in are the Kevin Smith ones. I've seen Argo. I like that. I liked The Town and Gone Baby Gone.
I've not even seen these movies. I'm just judging my entire opinion on Ben Affleck is purely based on the Kevin Smith movies that he was in.
See, the thing about Daredevil, though, that pees me off, everyone moans about him being Daredevil, but what do they want from him? Daredevil is what he did exactly what Daredevil would do. Talk about justice a lot and beat people up. It is not hard. I mean,
and be blind.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't. I think they're blaming the script on Ben Affleck. Yeah. Like he wrote the fucking thing. It just annoys me. I mean, for me, Ben Affleck was the least annoying thing in Daredevil.
I mean, I can't even remember Daredevil all that much. I remember the script seemed a bit cheesy. But I mean, like, in terms of his performance, I'm like, superhero movie. Yeah. Like, superheroes are rarely well characterised on the page. It's all to do with the actor. I think the actor, Ben Affleck, did a good enough job as fucking Daredevil.
That, and this is also a time where like the superhero movies were starting to get really big, so obviously they're just trying to grab whatever character they think they could make. And obviously, I think honestly, if I was guessing what they were doing, I think they just made Daredevil because they couldn't do Batman. Kind of
probably
thing. Because like Batman had been done in the 90s and stuff, and I don't think there was any way of it coming back at that time. I think they probably
too soon.
Like I think because it was Jon Favreau, I think, who directed or wrote it, because he did Iron Man. That's why I don't have that big a problem with Daredevil either, because I'm like, well, it's the guy who made Iron Man. I don't have any problem with that. I know he starred in it. I'm pretty sure my brother told me he directed it. Yeah, could have been lying. I don't know.
Fuck those.
But I mean, like, it wasn't as bad. I've seen worse superhero movies.
I have seen plenty worse superhero movies. I've seen plenty better, but I've seen plenty worse too. You know.
I think if anything, it was just made it funny for me. Was Bullseye was. He was so... I don't know why he was even in there, really. You didn't need him. He killed an old granny with a peanut Just for the banter. I don't know what he was there to do.
To be fair, these are moments that they could have been great.
Yeah.
Like, if the movie in general was better, no one would have complained about Ben Affleck's performance.
Yeah.
No one would have complained about any stupid things that happened, because they happened in this great movie.
Yeah.
But it's just the fact that the overall movie was not great.
See, I mean, I don't know if these people are just judging from Daredevil in general, or they're doing it from the... Because if anything, if you're going to watch Daredevil, watch the director's cut. If you're going to watch it, do that, because the director's cut has so much more into it. Like, there's like a separate case under the actual main plot. You're looking surprised, but like, I didn't know this either. But it was all actually about Ben Affleck's character. I need to call him Matt Damon. What's his name? Matt Murdock. That's it. It's got to be right to Matt. Right, Matt Murdock. It's like him solving a murder case, from what I remember, of this girl. And like, I think it all ties in to the main plot, like at the end, kind of thing, where like he figures it out that I think it was to do with Kingpin or something at the end. I need to watch it again to remember. My brother has it on DVD, but like, it has so much more than the original film had. And like, in my opinion, I like it better. I like having this other plot next to it. You get to see a lot more of Matt Murdock. So yeah, if I'm gonna say everyone right, if you're gonna try and judge Ben Affleck's performance on Daredevil, at least do it on the director's cut. Right?
Yeah, that's the fucking final say on that opinion.
Yeah. Alright guys, I'm gonna have to cut that podcast short for episode 1. Episode 2 will be coming next week, where me and Phil talk about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Harry Potter. You can follow us on Twitter at PhilDalf and DarkLordofAll92. Thanks a lot, see you guys next week.